What if everything you believe about death is a lie? Not just inaccurate, not just outdated, but an intentional distraction to keep you blind to something far more profound. That death isn't the end. It's not even a beginning. It's a test, a mirror, a moment so powerful that it could either trap your soul in another lifetime of suffering or set you free forever. The ancient Tibetan masters knew this. They encoded the truth in a mysterious manuscript known as the Bardo, what we now call the Tibetan Book of the Dead. For centuries, this book was kept hidden, only passed orally from teacher to student in Himalayan caves. And when it finally reached the West, we didn't just ignore it, we misunderstood it completely. But now you're going to hear its secrets, raw, unfiltered, and deeply relevant. Because this book isn't about death. It's about waking up to life before it's too late. Welcome to a journey few dare to take. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We go deep into ancient wisdom, spiritual systems, and life's biggest questions. If you're ready to expand your awareness, you're in the right place. Chapter 2. Why was this book kept secret? The Tibetan Book of the Dead was never meant for everyone. It wasn't shared in temples. It wasn't sold in markets. It wasn't even read aloud in most monasteries. Why? Because it contains a map out of the Matrix. This book claims to show you how to escape the very mechanism of reality that keeps you spinning through lifetimes of karma, pain, and illusion. And if you could escape that, you'd no longer be controllable by fear, by desire, by anything. Power like that doesn't go unnoticed. That's why this text was hidden, only shared with those who had proven their discipline and spiritual readiness. But today we're cracking it open. And once you understand why it was kept hidden, you'll start to realize what else has been kept from you. Up next, the 3 mysterious stages after death and why you're already living inside them. Stay with me. The 3 Bardos and why they matter. Right now, Bardo means in-between state. And according to this text, there are 3 Bardos after physical death. The Bardo of the moment of death, the Bardo of radiant visions, the Bardo of becoming and rebirth. Each of these Bardos is like a corridor your soul walks through after the body dies. But here's the twist. You don't have to die to experience them. You're already cycling through Bardos every time your reality shifts. When a relationship ends, when you lose your job, when you dream, when you meditate, even when you scroll in silence, questioning your purpose. The Bardos aren't reserved for the dead. They are the psychic architecture of change. To master them in death, you have to become aware of them in life. So what actually happens in that first moment after death? In the next section, we explore the blinding light you're destined to meet and why recognizing it could free your soul forever. Don't go anywhere. The first Bardo, the light you might miss, the body dies. Breath stops, but your awareness, still awake. In that very first moment, something incredible happens. You are bathed in what the Tibetans call the clear light of reality. This is not a white tunnel or a floating cloud scene. This is the true nature of your mind. Infinite, non-dual, beyond thought. It's like staring directly into the source code of existence, and yet, most people recoil from it. Why? Because the ego panics. It's like a spotlight exposing your entire identity as an illusion. The untrained mind runs, flinches, looks away. But if you've trained in presence, in awareness, in stillness, you merge with the light. And that moment, that's liberation. No more rebirth, no more suffering, just pure consciousness. But if you miss it, you fall deeper into illusion. Next up, what happens when your mind begins projecting gods, demons, and terrifying visions? And how do you stop them from dragging you into another life? Let's explore the Bardo of visions, your mind unleashed. You didn't recognize the clear light. You flinched. You hesitated. Now you enter the second Bardo. And here, everything you ever feared or desired comes alive. Peaceful Buddhas, wrathful demons, landscapes of overwhelming beauty and horror. But here's the secret. None of it is real. These are projections of your own consciousness. Your mind, unfiltered. Everything you suppressed in life, shame, lust, pride, insecurity, now takes visible form. And these forms try to seduce you, frighten you, trap you. But if you can recognize them as mind-made illusions, they dissolve. You move one step closer to liberation. If you don't, the descent continues. Next, you enter the most dangerous territory of all, the final Bardo, the desperate pull of rebirth, and how to resist it. The Bardo of becoming, escaping the trap. Now your consciousness has stabilized in a subtle body. You're no longer seeing visions. You're drifting. And suddenly you feel the magnetic pull of karma. You begin to see wombs, hear voices, glimpse scenes of potential lives. You don't choose where you go. Your karma chooses for you. If your mind is clouded, if you're clinging to identity, to pleasure, to regret, you get sucked into another life. But if you maintain clarity, if you remember that everything you see is illusion, you can say no. You can float beyond. This is the final chance to escape the cycle. Coming up next, how karma is not punishment, but architecture, and how to rebuild your inner house before it collapses again. Karma isn't punishment, it's architecture. Karma has been misunderstood. In the West, we think of it like cosmic justice. Do bad things and bad things happen to you. Do good things and you get rewards. But in the Tibetan tradition, karma is far more intricate and far more impersonal. It's not a moral scorecard, it's a blueprint. Every thought, word, and action you take plants seeds in the subconscious. These seeds ripen over time into tendencies, attractions, habits, and eventually lifetimes. Imagine your mind like a house. Karma is the architecture. Every time you repeat a pattern, anger, fear, craving, you're hammering nails into that design. You're making it more permanent. The problem is, once you die, that house doesn't go away. You just move into a new version of it. And if you don't know you're the builder, you think the house builds itself over and over again. But if you do know, you can tear it down, rebuild it, or walk away entirely. So how do you change your karma now to prepare for the Bardos then? In the next chapter, we explore the powerful techniques the Tibetan masters use to become lucid, not just in dreams, but in death itself. You won't want to miss this. Training for death while you're still alive. The Tibetan Book of the Dead isn't just a guide for the afterlife. It's a training manual for awareness. Because if you want to be conscious after death, you have to become radically conscious in life. Monks in Tibet would spend years practicing dream yoga, becoming lucid in dreams so they could prepare for lucidity in the Bardos. They meditated on death every day, visualized the moment of separation, chanted mantras to anchor awareness across dimensions. Why? Because the more familiar you are with the mind's tricks, the less likely you are to be fooled when they intensify after death. Think of it like a simulation. Life is your training ground. Death is the final exam. If you don't practice while the stakes are low, you won't pass when it matters. But if you do, you become like a lucid dreamer, navigating death with clarity and freedom. Coming up next, the terrifying beauty of the wrathful deities and how they might just be your greatest allies. Stick around. Wrathful deities, demons or mirrors. One of the most shocking parts of the Tibetan Book of the Dead is its detailed descriptions of terrifying beings. Skull-faced gods, flaming eyes, thunderous screams. These are the wrathful deities. To the unprepared mind, they look like demons. But they're not here to punish you. They're here to wake you up. Each wrathful figure represents a suppressed part of your psyche, your rage, your fear, your shame. But in its raw, unprocessed form, when you run from these beings, you run from yourself. And in that running, you become trapped in samsara. But if you turn toward them, recognize them, accept them, they dissolve into light. They were never enemies. They were your energy, trying to be integrated. What would it look like if you stopped fearing the dark parts of yourself? Because in the next chapter, we go even deeper into how identity itself is the prison, and why letting go of who you think you are may be your only real chance at freedom. Identity is the illusion that binds you. Who are you, really? Are you your name, your story, your traumas, your achievements? According to the Tibetan Book of the Dead, all of that, every label, every attachment, is a costume your consciousness wears. But here's the catch. You get so used to the costume that when death rips it away, you panic. You feel naked, vulnerable, lost. And in that fear, you grab onto the next available identity, which becomes your next rebirth. The only way out? Practice dying before you die. Let go of identity now, not in a nihilistic way, but with full awareness that you are not the story. You are the space in which the story appears. Meditation is the art of disidentifying. So is deep self-inquiry. The less you cling to who you think you are, the more freedom you'll have when the moment comes. And in that freedom, liberation. Up next, the shocking reason most souls choose to come back, even when they don't have to. Why most souls come back, even if they could be free. Here's a brutal truth. Most people don't reincarnate because they have to. They do it because they're attached to loved ones, to regrets, to desires left unfulfilled. In the Bardo of becoming, you might hear the voice of someone you love calling you back. You might see the outline of a life that could fix everything. And in that longing, you reach out. That's all it takes. One emotional pull, one craving, one identification, and you're reborn. The Tibetans called it grasping, and it's the #1 cause of reincarnation. Freedom doesn't require perfection, it requires non-attachment. And detachment isn't cold, it's clear. It's seeing things for what they are. Impermanent, empty, beautiful, and not yours to own. But how do you live this way without becoming passive? That's where the next chapter comes in. We'll talk about conscious action, right living, and the middle path to prepare your mind and heart for what lies beyond. The middle path, acting without attachment. The Buddha taught the middle way, not indulgence, not asceticism, but balance. In the context of the Tibetan Book of the Dead, that principle becomes a razor's edge. You're told to live fully, to love, to work, to create, but without attachment. That's not easy. We're trained to measure our worth by results, by outcomes, by praise. But what if action itself was the path? What if doing the right thing, moment by moment, with no thought of gain or recognition, was the actual training ground for liberation? In the Bardos, attachment is magnetic. It pulls you toward forms, toward identities, toward rebirth. But if you're already in the habit of acting without grasping, if you've trained yourself to serve, to create, to speak truthfully without needing anything in return, then in death that pattern holds. You'll see the illusions, but you won't chase them. You'll feel the pull, but you won't follow it. That's why spiritual action in life isn't about being good. It's about being free. In the next chapter, we'll talk about the illusions in the Bardo of becoming, the last trick the mind plays before it pulls you back into the cycle. Keep watching. We're approaching the climax. The final illusion before rebirth, after death, the soul enters the Bardo of becoming, the final phase. This is where visions appear, not of gods or wrathful deities, but of potential futures. Entire lives flash before you. Possible parents, possible places, new faces, new dramas. It all feels so real, so urgent. This is the mind's last gasp, its last play to reassert itself. The illusion is that you need to return, that there's something left undone, something you missed, something you could fix. But it's a trick. Every time you return, you forget. You start over. And unless you've trained for this moment, the odds are high that you'll fall for it again. The Book of the Dead gives us specific instruction here. Do not identify. Do not choose out of fear. Do not chase what feels familiar. Instead, stay with the awareness itself. Float. Witness. Let the visions pass like clouds. If you can hold steady, the cycle ends. Liberation begins. Up next, the secret teachings that were once hidden, and why they're only revealed to those ready to hear them. You've come this far. Let's go deeper. The hidden teachings that were never meant for the masses. Why has the Tibetan Book of the Dead been kept so secret? Partly because it's dangerous. Not in a physical sense, but in a spiritual one. This isn't just a text. It's a map out of the matrix. A key to escape the karmic system that binds nearly all beings. If used incorrectly, or by someone unprepared, it could lead to delusion, or worse, spiritual arrogance. That's why for centuries these teachings were given only orally, directly from master to student. They required initiation, inner stability, the capacity to handle truths that unravel everything. Some texts within the tradition go even further, revealing how reality itself is constructed moment by consciousness. If you realize that deeply, not just intellectually, you begin to see through the veil, even now while you're alive. That level of clarity can destabilize someone who's not grounded. But if you are, you gain access to liberation in this very lifetime. And that brings us to the final chapter, the step-by-step breakdown of how to avoid getting reborn and stay free. Get ready. This is what it's all been building toward. How to escape the cycle, a practical map. So how do you do it? How do you break free from the wheel of death and rebirth once and for all? The Tibetan Book of the Dead offers a precise set of steps. 1. Live consciously now. Every moment of mindfulness strengthens your awareness in the Bardos. 2. Practice letting go. Drop identities, attachments, and fixed views. They are the seeds of rebirth. 3. Meditate on impermanence. Make death your companion, not your fear. 4. Visualize the Bardos. Prepare your mind to recognize the signs. Familiarity breeds clarity. 5. Memorize key mantras. These anchor your consciousness when the storm comes. 6. Train in lucid dreaming. The same skills carry over after death. 7. Know the signs of liberation. Recognize the peaceful and wrathful deities as mind projections, not as real enemies or saviors. And above all, don't grasp. Let whatever arises, arise. Let it pass. Do not cling. If you can do this, not just once but consistently, you become ungraspable. You pass through the Bardos like a phantom, and in that, you discover the truth. You were never trapped. You were dreaming, and now you are awake. Now that you're awake, what will you do? If you've made it this far, you've just absorbed some of the most powerful teachings ever whispered through time. This isn't just ancient mysticism. It's a mirror, a challenge, a quiet invitation to transform how you live, starting right now. The Tibetan Book of the Dead isn't about death. It's about waking up while you're still alive. So ask yourself, are you willing to live like you've already died? To let go of what weighs you down? To dissolve the illusions that keep you coming back? Because the truth is, you don't have to wait for death to enter the Bardo. You're already in it. Now it's time to walk through it with your eyes wide open. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing. This channel is your space for deep truth, ancient wisdom, and modern awakening. Drop a like if you felt the shift. Leave a comment sharing what spoke to you most and what you're ready to let go of. This is just the beginning. Until next time, stay conscious, stay free, and keep walking the path.